Barnsley's 3-year stay in the Championship is over as they are relegated back down to League One. After today's result, Barnsley have seen themselves relegated back down to League One. We are going to talk about their whole season in today's video. Make sure if you're new around here to drop a like and subscribe. Let's go for 100 likes. Let me know your thoughts down below, especially if you're a Barnsley fan. We'll try and console you in the comments. But let's get into this video. Let's look at the background coming into this season. Barnsley came into the Championship through the 18-19 season when they were promoted from League One. In their first season, in that 19-20 season, they pulled off one of the greatest escapes alongside Luton Town as they both surged over the line, and they did it on final day away at Brentford with a last minute goal there, a last minute goal against Forest, and they stayed up in that season. What they did the following season in 2020-21, no one could have expected. Barnsley went on to finish 5th, making the playoffs. A fantastic second half to the season led by Ismail, who had come in October, saw Barnsley get 78 points, finishing in 5th, as I say, and they went up against Swansea City in the playoff semi-finals. Like I say, Barnsley's fortunes going from League One, just surviving, to this. You're thinking each season is just getting better and better and better. Unfortunately though for Barnsley fans, it wasn't meant to be in the Championship playoffs. After a 1-0 defeat at Oakwell, they drew 1-1 at the Liberty and fell short, not going through to the playoff final, where Swansea got through but were knocked out by Brentford anyway, who went on to get promoted. I remember thinking, wow, what an achievement, what a great season, even though they didn't get promoted. But they'd now set the bar so high, I didn't know what was to come the following season. Coming into this 21-22 season, I thought they could be in for another playoff battle, who knows? But obviously that wasn't meant to be. Manager Ismail went to West Bromwich Albion after their relegation from the Premier League. He joins them. He didn't even stay there for the full season. West Brom got rid of him afterwards, which makes you think, I wonder what would have happened if he'd have stayed at Barnsley. Barnsley saw quite a few players come and go, notably Alex Mowat going out. I always thought was a big loss. He obviously went with Ismail to West Bromwich Albion, and I still looked at their squad and the manager coming in, Marcus Schopp, who was a bit unfamiliar, but I thought to myself, there's going to be worse teams in the league than Barnsley this season. They should at least have a chance of finishing mid-table, but that wasn't meant to be. As you can see from those first 13 games, only the one win. Looking at those first few games, it didn't look too bad. They had a 1-1 draw with Cardiff. They beat Coventry 1-0 in a game which they really shouldn't have won. Coventry just weren't very clinical, and Barnsley managed to see out a 1-0 win, and after that a defeat, a couple of draws. But you can see there, they really struggled to get that second win. And as someone that went to that Barnsley-Coventry game early on, I did think despite Barnsley winning, there was some big problems there, and it kind of papered over cracks, that win. I know points are always brilliant, you know, if you win a game, but sometimes early in the season you can see, was it a false scoreline based on the performance? Possibly, and it went on to be the case. Barnsley slipped into the bottom 3 as the weeks went on. You can see there things just did not get better for Barnsley. 10 more defeats in the next 14 games, including the fact they lost the previous 5 coming into this. This was just an incredibly bad run from Barnsley, and I actually saw them go bottom towards the end of this, considering we'd seen Reading got 6 points deducted and Derby had 21 points deducted, and they still overtook Barnsley around November or December time. It was just incredible, really. Marcus Schopp got the sack. Game week 18 saw Poya Asbaghi come in, but it was just very, very bleak, and he couldn't turn things around straight away, and it just looked very, very bad for Barnsley. We all thought to ourselves, how can this get any worse? Teams that have been deducted 21 points have overtaken them. Barnsley had gone from shocking us all by being in the playoffs last season to shocking us all by being absolutely rotten the following season. I mean, at this point, Barnsley looked like they were going to set records for a low amount of points, low amount of goals scored. Things were just dreadful at Barnsley Football Club. They just couldn't buy a win. You can see eventually Poya Asbaghi did manage to get a few wins through the door, and there was a slight recovery in this surge of results, but still it seemed a bit too little too late. And they did get themselves into a position in March where it looked quite possible. They had that big game against Reading after the international break where if they'd have won, it'd have got really, really juicy. But that, as you can see, was one of the draws. And then after that, they lost their next game and it just hasn't recovered from there. And since then, going into this last stretch of 5, 6, 7 games, it's been more a question of when rather than if about Barnsley getting relegated. As well, to be fair, you've got to give Reading some credit. They've kind of peaked away from the bottom three. But Barnsley, they gave themselves a mountain to climb, and relegation has been inevitable for a few weeks. The question is, once you've been relegated, what next for Barnsley? Will Spaggy stay? I suppose we'll wait and see. They're going down to League One. I've always thought Barnsley are a pretty solid club, and they're more well run than some others in League One. If you compare them to Derby County, who they're going down with, although Derby have definitely got potential to be decent next season, it seems a bit clearer that Barnsley have a stronger chance for me. And Barnsley have got a decent history in League One. I feel like they're always one of the favourites to bounce back. They're one of them clubs that have got a know-how, a bit like Rotherham. So I actually do fancy Barnsley to do well next season. There will be question marks. There will be fingers being pointed as to what went wrong this season. But going into next season, they've got to get a few things right. They've got to get the manager right first, whether that means sticking with a Spaggy or bringing somebody else in. You want to get that ready from the get-go, and then after that it's the recruitment. Can they bring in the right kind of players? Obviously, this will be a very different bunch of players to when they got promoted from League One 3 or 4 years ago it was now. And League One's getting quite tricky. There's a lot of very difficult teams to beat down there. It's never going to be a walk in the park in League One, so I don't think any Barnsley fans underestimate the league. And do you know what? I'm finding it hard to predict, but I do think Barnsley should be able to bounce back. I just look at the club, I think they'll be strong. But I tell you what, it's very early days now, and they need to reflect on this season first, and then obviously we've got a big summer before we can start calling anything about next season. But what I want to know is your thoughts down below. Whether you're a Barnsley fan or not, what went wrong this season? Was it the manager and the players going at the start of the season and that rotten run which they haven't been able to recover from? Is a Spaggy to blame in any way, shape or form, or does it all go down to Marcus Shop? I suppose you can maybe share the blame for numerous reasons, but Barnsley are going down. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, guys. I know Barnsley fans won't be happy at the moment, but make sure to drop a like. It is a football channel. Make sure to subscribe, share it around with your friends, and we'll be back for more content very, very soon. It's not a good day for Barnsley. They've been relegated to League One. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out. Just before we wrap up this video, guys, 75% of you haven't subscribed to the channel. What's that about? There's 3/4 of you sat there that haven't subscribed. Subscribe to the channel. Go on. Go down, hit the red button now, it's free, and turn notifications on, it's worthwhile. Plenty of content coming your way. I can't believe how much football content we've got to bring to you. So, subscribe and be there. We'll see you in the next video.